Good morning, everybody. It's Claire Jones here from Your One Life Healthy Weight Solutions. It's 9 o'clock on Monday morning. Well, it's just gone 9 o'clock, so I'm slightly late. And it's Monday, the 10th of October. Can't believe we're in October. This year's just flown by. It always does, though, doesn't it? And anyway, here we are. It's starting to get darker in the mornings, and you feel that autumn chill in the air. Yeah, here we are. So I'm here to talk to you this morning about why it's harder to lose weight as we get older, and also what you can do about it. Now, this is a big topic, so I'm not going to be able to, go into much detail, just give you sort of like a little bit of an overview. But obviously, if you want to know more, then come and work with me, because then we can go into this in so much more detail. If you are watching live, it would be lovely if you could say hello in the comments. And if you're watching on replay, it would also be lovely if you could say hello in the comments, because that helps Facebook to tell other people that I've gone live and that there's something there that they might want to watch. It will also tell Facebook that you like to watch this stuff, so it will show you more of it in the future. So I've only got a few minutes, and this is a big topic, as I said, so I'm just going to basically just run through some key points that I think it's really important for us all to be aware of when it comes to managing our weight. Now, I know that some of you watching may be thinking, "Oh, I don't need to worry about that. I'm still young, and I've got years ahead of me to be worrying about this." But the thing is, if you don't know what's coming, you're going to be less able to deal with it. So even if you are in your 20s or your 30s, then do still watch this, because it will really help you to make sure that you're doing the right things now to help prevent problems later. So what is the problem with losing weight as we get older? Why does it get harder? But I think the first thing we need to establish is why it gets easier to put it on in the first place as we get older, because that then helps to explain why it's harder to lose it. So it's very, very common for many people to gradually put on weight as they get older. And you just look around at your friends and family, perhaps you look at yourself, look at celebrities. It's something that generally does happen as we age. Doesn't mean it has to. And obviously, when we're talking about weight gain, for some people, a little bit of weight gain can be healthy. But for other people, it can be less healthy. So obviously we're all different. We need to consider where is it, or where are we, in relation to that. So there's one thing to put on weight, but is it a problem? So if the answer to that is yes, it is a problem, then that's when we need to obviously look into what can we do about it. So the reason why it's hard, one of the reasons why it's harder, is that we naturally lose muscle mass as we age. And our muscles, morning Catherine, our muscles are one of the biggest calorie burners in our bodies, which basically means that if we lose muscle mass, our bodies need less energy to move. Now, this can happen for a number of reasons. One is a natural process, because perhaps we're not using our muscles as much. When we're perhaps, young and very, very active, and we're growing, we need more muscle. But as we get older, it's one of those, if it really does, it is true what they say, if you don't use it, you will lose it. So obviously, that is exactly what's happening with our muscles. So if we're not reminding the body that we actually need this muscle, it will naturally shed it as we get older. So let's just say that you carry on eating the same amount of food. So some people say to me, "I haven't changed what I eat. I don't understand why I've put on weight." But the thing is, even if you haven't changed what you've eaten, and I would be willing to bet most of us have, and I'll come on to that in a moment, even if you haven't changed what you've been eating, if your body needs less energy, you're creating a calorie surplus over time. So that could start off really quite small, but over time it could get bigger and bigger and bigger. And of course, that has a cumulative effect. And I do quite often talk about the fact that, in order to put on a stone in a year, we only need to eat the equivalent of 2 Bourbon biscuits a day. more than what our bodies need. So if that if that surplus is being created by a lack of muscle mass because you haven't changed how you eat to accommodate it, then that fat gain is going to happen. So that is probably the biggest reason why this happens. But also, if we have, yes, I know it's crazy, isn't it? And the thing is, if we become aware of it, we can do something about it. So so that is assuming we haven't changed how we've eaten. But this is where the other problem comes in, because actually the landscape has changed. So even if you don't think you've changed how you've eaten, the chances are you probably have, but maybe haven't even realised it, because the world that we live in now is so different to how it used to be. And of course, as I quite often harp on about the fact that, we're not hardwired to pay attention to what we eat. So it's so easy to eat mindlessly, and the portion sizes have grown bigger. And that is something that is insidious, and we don't notice it happening. We just gradually eat more. So going back to that, what I was saying about 120 calories more than our body needs per day, that can easily come from the extra portions. So if we're having extra sized portions and we're also burning less calories, then that where that was just getting wider at the bottom, it's now getting wider at the top as well. So now you can see maybe that's where you were maintaining your weight, and now the gap is so much bigger because it's being expanded at both ends. And then on top of that, we also, generally speaking, for many of us, find it harder to be more active as we get older for a variety of reasons. That could be injuries, arthritis. It also could be things like just being so busy and stressed that we just don't have time to fit it into our routine like we used to. Or maybe we're doing a desk job now where we previously were up and about and moving around a lot. So we've got the muscle mass is reducing, the portion sizes and calorie content of foods has increased, and we're being less active. And then we haven't even started on the hormonal changes that happen for when we go into menopause. And of course, then another really important aspect is that because we're so stressed and tired, we make really rubbish choices sometimes that are full of all, the sugar and the high fat and, all of our favourite foods. And we just say, oh, sod it, I can't be bothered to cook tonight. Let's get a takeaway in because we're too tired. And then it all just snowballs. And that is why it's so easy to put on weight as we get older. And of course, it then leads to, well, that's why it's so difficult to lose it, because all of those things are in place. That's often how we've ended up being overweight in the first place. So we need to have that understanding of the situation that we find ourselves in before we can actually think, well, what do we need to do about it? So there are a number of things that you can do about it, obviously, which is great. So first is understand the problem, which is hopefully just by going through those points, if you perhaps look at that for yourselves and perhaps think about which ones of those are most likely to be relevant to you, and that will give you a good starting point. So let's say you're losing muscle mass. So one of the best things you can do about that is increase it. And how do you do that? Resistance training. Now, that doesn't mean, say, you have to spend hours and hours in the gym, but if you did, it would really do you good, because it would help you to build your muscles back up over time. Now, it's not a quick process. Building muscle mass, especially for women, takes a very long time. But at least if you are reminding your body that you need to use it, then it will stop losing it. And then you can build over time. Now, it doesn't mean, say, you're going to turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger. It does mean that you will be providing your body with increased ability to burn calories, and not only that, there are so many health benefits to increasing your muscle mass. One of which is to support your joints, because obviously as we get older, our joints don't work as well. We can get arthritis, and if we have got a good amount of muscle mass to support and strength, morning Annie, to support those joints, then we're less likely to feel the worst of the effects of the arthritis. We may not be able to prevent the arthritis, but we can certainly help ourselves to live with it better. So having a couple of sessions in the gym is not going to be it's not going to do you any harm, especially if you get some advice from a professional. Even if you only have maybe a few personal training sessions to get you started, get you onto a plan that you can follow. Going into a gym, actually, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but if you are interested in doing it, then definitely give it a go, because it will really make a difference in terms of if you're consistent with going regularly, and as long as you're obviously working within your capabilities and getting advice about what you should be doing, it really can make a huge difference. And my own personal journey, I could talk about this for hours in terms of the difference it made to me. Getting in the gym and getting into weight training, it really was a big part of how I was able to manage my weight long term. So I would encourage that. But there are so many other different ways that you can do resistance training, and yoga and Pilates are really good examples of that, as are just getting some resistance bands, doing body weight work. Just if you Google resistance training on YouTube or on Google, search for it, then you'll come up with lots of stuff. But what I will say is just make sure that you look at reputable sources, and if you're not sure what they are, then obviously give me a shout and I can help steer you to some. So that's the first thing you can do, is actually resistance training. Get that into your life in some way as soon as possible. And bearing in mind, obviously I know not everybody can do that, but if you can, then do, because it will make a huge difference over time. But you've got to do it consistently, and it's not just something, I'll do it for a few weeks. It's something you've got to build into your life on an ongoing basis. So that's the first one. Second one is about the landscape that we're living in, and the portion sizes and the calorie content of the food that we are faced with, because we are being marketed to constantly. We've got to get wise to it. We've also got to understand how many calories we're actually eating, whether that's through calorie counting or following a plan or whatever. We've got to know what we're doing, because if without that knowledge, it's like going shopping with your contactless card and just spending willy-nilly, and then looking at your bank statement and going, how did I end up spending 300 quid when my budget was 50? That's what happens. If we're not educating ourselves about what we're doing, how on earth can we possibly make better decisions? Now, I'm going to give a plug for my book here, How to Eat Less, because this is exactly all about how to manage your food intake in the world that we live in now, to help you to eat less without dieting and feel like you're in healthy control of what you're eating, and so that you can stop overeating by accident, because quite often we overeat by accident. We don't mean to do it. So yeah, How to Eat Less. It's available on Amazon. Go and check it out. And if you like it, please give me a review, because reviews are what help other people to think, that's worth getting hold of. And use it as a guide. That's what it's there for. It's a little guide for you, to help eat less, basically. That's what it says on the tin. So that's the other thing. So those are the two main things: is resistance training and eating less, and understanding what you're doing, because they are absolutely crucial. And then managing stress. Managing stress is so important, because we are we get sort of sandwiched in between everything, don't we? And quite often our needs get put last on the list. And if we don't start putting ourselves first and thinking about making time for us, because we've got to create the time and space in our life to work on this, because if we don't, nothing will change, and we'll just carry on doing what we've always done. So look at ways that you can manage your stress. Now, that is a whole topic on its own. I'm not going to be able to go into any further now, because I've got to go over into my accountability club and give them their second task for October. And if you are interested in my accountability club, just go to my website, www.youronlife.co.uk/club, and that will tell you all about it. But just very briefly, every month we have a theme that we work on, and this month in October we are working on how to get back on track after a setback. and I'm just about to go and give them all their second task for October. So I need to go and do that now. So I hope that was helpful. Please let me know in the comments and any questions that you've got, and I will come back later on in the day and answer them for you. And yeah, I will see you next week for episode 23. I can't believe we've done so many now, and I don't know off the top of the head what that's going to be, but if you have got if you've got a wish list of things that you'd like me to talk about, please let me know, because you know these are ongoing. I'm doing them every week, and I'm always happy to listen to what people would like me to talk about, because I know that people find this helpful. So have a good week, and obviously if you're doing the monthly challenges, keep going, don't give up. Even if you've had a few days out, doesn't matter, come back in and just get back on it and tell us what you're doing, and you'll get lots of support. And I'll see you in the group. Take care. Thanks, Danny. Take care. Bye-bye.